Hey everyone, welcome to floors 181 to 190 of Palace of the Dead. My name is Willow Greed, and today I'm running Scholar. This set is considered by many to be the hardest part of any palace climb, so let's get into it. The first thing I do is pop a raising. I'm looking into the room ahead to see what enemies have spawned there, and since there's nothing patrolling into this room, I feel safe to check this gold chest. If it were a mimic, I have a safe space to fight it. With these initial checks out of the way, I want to start fighting as soon as possible. Since I started with 3 strengths, I'll use one and pull the Wamouracampas in the first room. Wamouracampas have a ranged double auto called Cannonball, but as long as you keep sidecasting away, you should generally be able to split the Cannonball and the following auto, giving you time to react to the damage. The Wamoura Patrol is a simple fight, but a potentially disastrous enemy to accidentally aggro, as it will heal other enemies in combat and waste a lot of time. Since this is an easy kill and a potential problem later, I'll kill it immediately once the Wamouracampas is dead. The Wamoura has a conal poison dust attack, but apart from that it will just keep auto attacking. Sprites are sight aggro, and targeting them can help you determine which direction they are facing. The Garm, commonly referred to as a Chimera, has a significantly larger health total than most mobs on this set. It also aggros by proximity, and with its large hitbox can be difficult to dodge. This presents a conundrum, since fighting them will be time consuming, but dodging them throughout the floor could also waste a lot of time. They are, however, an easy fight as long as you remember Chimera mob type basics: ram out, dragon in. The reason I decided to kill this Garm is that I saw the room to the north is a dead end and doesn't have the key. That means me and this Garm are following the same path through the rest of the floor, and dodging it when it turns around at the end will be annoying. Additionally, I know there is only one room I haven't seen on this floor due to the way the rooms connect together. I've already seen one worm, which I don't want to fight. As I'm only 2 kills into the floor, I might as well deal with this Garm now, as there's a good chance I'll have to kill it later anyway. There is another Wamoura approaching from the east. Remember that if this aggros, it would full heal the Chimera. If it continues in my direction, I need to judge if the Chimera will die or not and take evasive action if necessary to avoid aggroing. The insect-like Wamouracampas are sound aggro, so if necessary I can toggle walk to continue exploring into the next room while fighting this Wamoura patrol without pulling it. My strategy for this set is to use my flights early and pair them with affluences to generate more chests, which I can check easily due to the decreased enemy count from flighting. The 190 boss requires a steal, so this is something I have to keep in mind throughout the set. Ideally, I would like to finish this set with at least 1 rage. However, that also means I am comfortable going down to 1 rage if necessary, whether for time or to conserve the final steal for the boss. Also, it is important to adapt to the hand the game deals you. Having a framework strategy going into a set is useful, but sticking to it too rigidly can easily cost you the run. Scholar just about has enough damage output to single pull through the set. However, doing so requires efficient and optimal play throughout, and removes any margin for decision making errors. If the opportunity presents itself, banking some time with multi-pulls early on can be useful. Spawning into a new floor, I want to check chests in the spawn room for mimics and then start a fight as soon as possible. This Wamoura is heading toward me and is a mob I would prioritize removing anyway. Since this floor is flighted, and affluenced, I do want to check as many chests as I can before the key opens, in case I do find any mimics. A flighted floor only requires between 2 to 5 kills to open the key on this set. Remember when you see any silver chests that you can use them to potentially kill a monster quickly by bringing them down to 70%, shielding yourself, and then opening the chest to explode it. Of course, this doesn't always work, but it's always an option worth taking. Looking ahead, I see a grenade in this room and the one in front. I'm going to use my only available steel here. Remember, I'm keeping one for the boss, and pull 2 grenades. This pull's actually fine without steel, but I had less experience at the time than I do now, and you do have to kind of stay on top of your healing. I'm still planning on flighting the next floor, and this steel will open up more multi-pull options there as well, so this isn't entirely wasted. I also need to watch where this chimera is going and move out of the way if it turns toward me. Knowing where the traps can spawn is valuable on this set, and knowing this information lets me comfortably run around this grenade without having to worry about hitting a trap. For more information on trap placement in this tile set, I highly recommend Daraban's video. This floor has given me an extra flight and another steel, which are both huge pickups. Finding another steel on this floor is lucky, but considering I was likely going to use all of my affluences and alterations on this set, generating a lot of chests to check, it's not entirely unrealistic to find it on another floor on a different run. Once this patrol is dead, I want to start making use of the steel I have running. I feel comfortable fighting a grenade and Wamouracampa with steel up, so that's another option I'm considering if I see it. Seeing a second Wamouracampa up the ramp, I decide to do something more ambitious. However, I'm unsure if this pull is within my ability, so I will single target the first Wamouracampa for a while, and then pull the second one. This still results in a faster kill on the 2 mobs than fighting them individually, but the risky period where I'm fighting both is decreased. During this time, my Aether Flow cooldown has also almost finished, meaning I will have access to 6 lustrates worth of healing if the pull is worse than I expect. Knowing that I have no reason to come back in this direction later, this is the best time to refresh my steel with the free one I left behind earlier. If the key was in this direction, it would make sense to wait until leaving the floor. However, if I need to kill 1 or 2 more enemies to leave this floor, I don't want to then waste more time running all the way back here and then back to the exit. Arguably, it would have been even more optimal to use Ruin 2 to grab the steel earlier, and have the Wamouracampa die closer to the exit room, instead of all the way back there. I'm saving my last flight for 189. Since I found an extra one earlier though, I can still flight this floor, and after this I will start using my alterations. I'm back at 3 rages now, which puts this run in a very strong position. Remember that we've been using affluences the entire set and checking many chests as possible. I'm still willing to finish this set with 1 rage if given good reasons to use them, but this gives me a lot more flexibility in how I handle things. If the Archaeosaur aggroed here, it's actually not the end of the world. With Steel on, I can probably take this as a multi-pull, but also it's one of the few sleepable enemies on this set. I want to kill the sprite next, as it's next to the key and is probably going to be blocking it when I want to leave. Whenever trying to open a gold chest, be prepared for a mimic. If you can't handle a mimic in your current fight, wait until the fight is over. With Steel on, I feel comfortable with this situation. However, the damage was a bit higher than I expected, so I have slept the sprite. Try and place your dot on an enemy before sleeping them, so you're still getting their health down a little bit. By the time the sprite wakes up again, my Aether Flow will be off cooldown, and I'll have my Lustrates available. Vinthers are probably the easiest mob on the middle floors of this set. They stop to cast often and have average auto attack damage. Pulling 2 of these without steal is fine. Worms will typically try and hit you out of combat with their sand pillar for a reasonable chunk of damage. This can hit you even before you see them if they're in neighbouring rooms, behind walls, etc. However, they won't do it across a change in elevation, so fighting in this spawn room prevents them from hurting me at a bad time while I deal with this mimic. Archaeosaurs have a double auto and a circle AoE. They are generally okay to fight, but as with any double auto at this stage, their damage output can be surprising if you don't respect it. I've been on this floor for a while now. I've killed 4 enemies, and I've hardly made any progress exploring the floor. This is an altered floor, and I still don't even know if there's mimics or corrigans. If this floor does have corrigans, I'm approaching a point where killing them will just be wasteful, and all the time save that I could have gained from them has been wasted. You can use these cube-like structures around this hallway to line of sight against caster-type mobs. The positioning is difficult though, and ultimately wastes time. Especially with steel on, there was no need for me to do this, I was just experimenting with it. I've never tried fighting 2 sprites before, but since I know they are sleepable, this isn't too dangerous with steel on. If I can't handle the damage, I'll just alternate which one sleeps to avoid giving them resistance to it, and single target the one that's awake. Although I've been keeping up with the damage okay until now, I'm about to run out of lustrates, so I'm going to sleep one and then finish this fight off single target. This floor took around 10 minutes. This pace clearly isn't sustainable, and I've used all of the time saved with the flights earlier. I still want to empty my alterations on this set and see if I have mimics or bad debuffs, and then consider using a rage from here. I want to use the alterations on this set because replacing undead mobs on the final set can jeopardize my ability to use resolutions, which deal massive damage to undead type mobs. This combination of floor enchantments is definitely getting either serenity'd or I'll be using a rage. I'm going to explore as much as I can, check chests, and see if I can find the altered room. I can toggle walk to get past this worm, but I need to be aware of the flood dragon moving and ready to react if it aggroes. This floor doesn't have many chests left, and I'm considering attempting to double dip a rage into the next floor. Since I'm not leaving behind multiple unchecked chests, and getting a ton of time saved from not fighting this gloom floor. Even if the next floor had the no knockback enchantment, I wouldn't be upset about it, as I've still got good value out of this floor's rage. After checking this last chest, I will use a witching to drag these two mobs closer to the exit room. This will help me to maximise the time left on the rage moving into the next floor. One of Scholar's main strengths as well is not having to worry about the pox that's running here, as the fairy will keep us healed through the transformation. You might expect this flood dragon to aggro as I run up to it. However, the gap between the entrance and the room actually blocks enemy aggro. This means by hugging the wall of the hallway, I can get in range to punch it without it attacking me. Getting the rage back is huge, and really frees me up to handle these final 3 floors in a variety of ways. Typically, I like to flight 189 and then rage 188 and try to double dip it into 189. Some people consider this to be overkill, but I like to cut down the potential gum train on 189 while also giving myself some protection from no knockback if I do double dip. In the event the final floor does have no knockback, I only need to kill at most 5 enemies. I found a free lust in this room, and I'm using it to speed up the kill on this otherwise bulky chimera. I've used an affluence here to try and regain some commanders before the final set, especially my strength and steals. This probably would have been better paired with the flight that I want to use for 189, since I know I'm very likely raging the next floor and will have more chests to check or miss out on before doing so. The no knockback is annoying here. Given the time remaining, I would have to use a serenity to fight through this floor anyway, but now I still have to use one to even rage it. I want to know how far away the key room is and how many chests are on the floor so I can make sure I'm close enough to the key to try double dipping. I need to see which way this chimera enters the room so that I can dodge its proximity aggro. I can use walking to avoid the worm's sound aggro if necessary, One good thing about the gloom here is that it increases enemy movement speed, so I'm wasting less time following behind this chimera than I would on a clean floor. On the other hand though, the one heading in my direction is basically sprinting at me. Chimera have a tendency to walk slightly to one side of a room as they travel through it. To avoid aggroing them, it is best to keep your distance, see which direction they choose, and then head to the opposite side. This aggro could have been avoided if I was more patient and hung back further. Since I know that I will be using a serenity on this floor, I should have used it here, as the gloom will make this fight take much longer. This is a better example than the last attempt. Wait until it enters the room and adjust accordingly. If the chest in this room is a mimic, I need to serenity immediately and start my rage, ideally before getting poxed. Another option would be to use another witching and bring all 3 mobs closer to the key. Watching this run back, it is astonishing to me that I didn't just serenity immediately upon loading into this floor. Knowing about this treasure room would have changed my approach to this floor, as this rage into 189 is now leaving behind multiple chests. If I could have gotten to this room earlier, I would have at least checked the chest in the room connected to it, and the ones on the side closest to me, before using the rage. The worms in here are also scary, as they have the potential to kill me in rage if they all sound pillar me at the same time. But since they're sound aggro and they're the only mobs on this close corner, I also see a chance to sneak past and move on to the next floor. I have about 10 minutes until I need to be fighting the boss. This floor requires at most 5 kills, and I could already see 3 chimera patrolling around. Instead of using a rage immediately, it won't hurt me to use my time up a little. I can fight these chimera and see if the key opens, and I can still commit to using a rage if I run out of chimeras or time. This also allows me to check any chests on the floor. On these chimera heavy floors, make sure to be constantly keeping an eye out for incoming patrols. Floor 189 can only spawn 4 mobs: Garms, Claws, Worms, or Flood Dragons. All of these are annoying, and the mob selection can definitely influence how to handle this last floor. Claws and Worms are fightable without using steel, but challenging mobs to take down. Flood Dragons are incredibly dangerous, and you should only fight them with steel unless you have a lot of experience. There's a world where all of the Garms on this floor spawned as Flood Dragons instead. Since I have a raising active still, I would have attempted to fight any Claws without steel to open the exit, but if I died, I would have just raged to leave and start the boss. The exit is open, and I had time to kill another mob before using something. I do still have some time available, so I can wait for an opportunity to sneak past them to the exit. If necessary, I can also use a safety to open an additional path through the room if they position in a way that allows me to get past. I'm watching the claw on the left, and if it moves soon, then I should have time to leave before the one closest to me moves again. If the claw furthest away moves, I don't think it would reach aggro range on the key. In my opinion, this is the hardest boss on any healer's run. It is the only one which requires a steal, and even using all 3 lusts, it is difficult to kill the boss within that single steal timer when you are inexperienced. In fact, I do not manage to do so here, but I've seen Aurora kill this boss in just over 7 minutes on Scholar before. The boss starts the fight with an auto, followed by his double auto, which is very powerful. Shield before pulling, and be prepared to lustrate immediately if you see any crits. You will then summon a blue bomb, and on healers it is typical to kill this using Lust, making sure to hit both the bomb and the boss to apply vulnerability. Make sure your sustaining potion is running the entire time during this fight, but especially here, and try and stay in Lust for as long as possible, as it does more damage than Broil. During this time, the boss will cast Sap 3 times, a circle AoE based on your location. Try and dodge in such a way that the boss will not move from the blue bomb to auto you between casts until the blue bomb is dead. Killing the bomb is the priority here, but losing hits on the boss may cost you the extra steal later. After the 3rd sap, the boss will hit with its tank buster again. I would recommend exiting Lust before this happens, as a crit here could leave you with no time to react before the next auto. There will be another sap cast following this, and the boss will then summon the orange bomb. This bomb casts a small circle AoE around it, and needs to hit the boss to stun it and inflict damage. Any damage will move the bomb directly away from where it was hit. If you are unsure where the bomb will spawn, or lose track of where you are in the rotation, position the boss in the middle of the arena so the bomb can be easily pushed onto the boss wherever it spawns. From here, the fight repeats. There will be a couple of auto attacks, followed by the double auto, followed by the blue bomb mechanic. There is still a minute left on our Lust timer, so for this bomb, we will eat the explosion. The blue bomb will hit for 80% of your max HP, and inflict a 5-second freeze debuff. Watch the cast bar, and when the bomb is about to explode, run as far from the boss as possible and shield yourself. The boss will start moving toward you, but cast Sap before reaching you. Remember that this Sap cast is closely followed by the double auto, so heal is necessary. The bombs spawn in a fixed pattern, which you can find in the FAQ channel of Angelus's Discord or on ddcompendium.com. If you die and restart, the bomb spawn pattern does not reset, and instead continues from the next point regardless of colour. The vulnerability from Lust has expired on the boss, so the next blue bomb will be lusted. Remember, the goal is to push as many Lust casts as possible, but also finish the transformation after the 3rd Sap cast before the double auto can hit you. All of these interrupted broil casts are adding up, and this is where the experience factor makes a big difference in the kill time. There have also been times, moving across the arena for bomb positioning etc, where I haven't even used Ruin 2 to get any chip damage. My steel and strength are definitely going to run out before the boss dies. I know the next tank buster will fall within my steel, and then the orange bomb phase will both stop the boss from attacking for a while and deal about 2% damage to it. My estimate is that the boss will have about 2% health left after this bomb explodes. I have 2 Aetherflow stacks ready, and I'll be able to use Dissipation to gain a fresh set. I'll also nearly have Aetherflow back off of cooldown soon. I would not ever recommend this, but I decided to continue this fight with no steel, and attempt to kill the boss using Ruin 2 in order to conserve my final steel. To repeat, this is incredibly risky, and I cannot stress enough that I would never suggest someone actually does this. This set went pretty smoothly overall. Recall I said I would be happy leaving this set with 1 rage left, and we have 2. Also still have a flight and affluence, which might help to find more resources on the final set, and keeping this last steel puts me in a very strong place, opening up more routes to deal with tricky mobs or debuff combinations. Thank you for watching, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel.